Thank you for watching Wisdom Investor Travels. Today we're in Camas, Washington, along the Columbia River in Washington State. And we're going to be looking at the old downtown here, incorporated in 1906. We're going to also be looking at the new high-tech industry in this area. We'll also look at where people live. We'll take a look at some of the great views from that 800-foot elevation of this town. And we will also look at recreation areas. So join me as we tour Camas, Washington. Here we are in downtown Camas, Washington. Now this town was incorporated in 1906. It was started much earlier than that by some of the paper mills that started in this area. Being along the Columbia River, they used the lumber coming down through the river along with the water to produce paper. So we still have a Georgia Pacific paper mill here, and actually it's a nice little town here. Has a population of about 21,000, and it's a very comfortable town. Now it's been booming over the last 10 years. People have discovered this town. We're kind of walking through the downtown area right now and just looking at some of the structures. We'll go pan it over here. Across the street, you can see some of the shops across the street here in this town here of 21,000. And we'll just pan the back behind us here. So, Camas, Washington, we're going to take a look at some other areas in Camas, Washington. It's fall season in Camas, Washington right now, and we mentioned the elevation, 800 feet. We're at 75 feet elevation right now, and then we move up to about 800 feet in elevation in various areas. A lot of beautiful homes are built up on the overlooking the terrain here and over the river of Camas, Washington. Temperature wise here in the area, winters are relatively mild. The average high in the winter in Camas, Washington runs about 45 degrees, and the low maybe around 30. Other parts of the United States, for example, average low here is 34 in January. Other parts of the United States, the average low is 22. So it's relatively mild winters here in Camas, Washington. The winters are also relatively mild. The winters are average high of 80 degrees in Camas. The rest of the United States, average high is 86. So it's a very comfortable place to live. Okay, we're continuing our walk here down the old downtown here of Camas, Washington. This is the old Camas Hotel here, built, I'm not sure what year this was built, but sure it was back quite a ways. And we talked about some of the weather. They get about 2.5 inches of snow here a year, which is really not bad. Now up in the mountains you can get a couple of 100 feet of snow, but along the lower elevations here really don't get much snow at all. So the overall the weather here is quite nice here in Washington State. Now you'll find Camas along the Columbia River. It's about 17 miles from Vancouver, Washington, and about 20 miles from PDX Portland Airport. So just down the river, you take 14 along the river, and you'll find Camas, Washington. There's all types of water sports in this area, all types of activities, and anywhere from hiking to restaurants, hotels, and wave runners. You've got water skiing on the Lake Camas, which we'll take a look at later in this video. So here's a nice shot of Camas, Washington. Right in the heart of Camas, Washington, we have a park here for all types of events. You can see the park in the background, some of the beautiful trees in this particular area here, some giant fir trees and cedar trees growing as high as 200 feet. Right in the heart of the city, you're going to find all types of homes that have been around for years, and it's a very comfortable town. We're walking up one of the streets here right now, and got an elevation change going up this probably at least a couple hundred feet or more up as we move higher. But here in Camas, Washington is a very comfortable city to live in. We're going to look at some of the newer homes here in a moment, and also some of the high-tech areas and some recreation areas. Again, just behind us here, just some homes that have been around here for years in Camas, Washington, as this town was, again, started back in the early 1900s. Now we've moved up to a higher elevation. We're close to 700-800 feet elevation, and we're looking at the mountain range to the north of Camas, Washington. So the river's on the south side, then we have this mountain range on the background, and so that's looking to the north as of right now. Okay, we're looking at a new residential area here, and we're going to see if we can get a shot of Mount Hood in the background here. You may be hard to see it, but Mount Hood towering about 11,000 feet in the background, looking over this new residential area. Okay, we've moved up much higher now. We're up about 800 feet elevation, as we told you earlier. A lot of homeowners build these homes on these great view lots here overlooking the Columbia River. You may or may not be able to see the across the river is Oregon, and then of course we're standing on the Washington side here. Make it look clear there from the side as it's looking right at us. So we're panning out over the Columbia River right now, looking at we're on a new residential site here. So that's what it looks like about 800 feet up, with a beautiful view over the river. We're at another residential area overlooking the view of the Columbia River in Camas, Washington. Not sure how well you can see the Mount Hood in the background there, but down below you'll see Highway 14 that goes on to the east, and if you move back to the west, you'll move towards Portland, Oregon. Across the river there again is the Oregon state. Look at some of the homes here. Many of these homes here are wanting to catch a view of the river and the skyline. I mentioned earlier about high tech in this Camas. This town has grown from the old mill days to high tech companies all over the place. Have wafer companies, big this company called Analog Devices here. Another company here called Karcher. There's Fujitsu. Fisher Investments has a facility down the street. So lots of jobs in Camas, Washington. We talked about recreation earlier. We're overlooking a residential area, which also includes, down below you'll see Camas Lake. We're going to look at Camas Lake a little closer, but all types of water sports, water activities, skiing, wave riders, etc. Swimming. We'll take a look at this closer. We're in a nice residential area getting closer to the Camas Lake, and we talked about recreation, so we're going to take a look at one of the golf holes here in Camas. lake area. We got the par 4, number 16 here. And let's just take a look at this golf hole. And this goes through this residential area. Nice looking golf course here. So you can see the hole here, tee boxes here in the front, and then off in the back is the hole. Got to drill it through these trees here, and it looks like a maneuver around the sand traps. So nice residential area with a golf course, and we're going to work our way down to the lake here shortly. We're working our way down to the lake here, and by the way, did you know they grow palm trees in the northwest here? So we have a house here with some palm trees, and one of my favorite trees here. I used to watch, grew up in Oklahoma, and watch the golf tournaments in the winter. I always wanted to get out to Palm Springs and enjoy the palm trees. Here's another nice house with some nice palm trees landscaped around the house.